normally you would sit like this, right?
Yeah.
You can sit Burmese style or half lotus, full lotus. But also, you, like I said, you can use a chair, and you could even lean against something. And I've seen people actually practicing like this, so that you really relax your knees, and you can practice for a long time. But of course, normally you would alternate with the walking meditation. You would do the sitting meditation for a while, and then you would do some walking meditation, just walking back and forth, being aware of the movements. So when you're doing the sitting meditation, your awareness is mainly with the arms and the hands, the movements of the arms and the hands. When you're doing the walking, the awareness is mainly in the legs. So I'll get to the walking meditation later. So one important thing is that when you do the rhythmic meditation, you have your eyes open. Don't close your eyes. And especially if you do this early in the morning and you feel a bit sleepy, you just wake up, make an effort to keep your eyes open and make a light or something. And actually, this may sound a bit strange, but it's good to look far in the distance. That relaxes your eyes and it gives you a relaxed feeling. And so this particular environment, and also where I stay, is really very, very good because I can look far in the distance, and I love it because when I look far in the distance, I get this sense of space. And so it's almost like there's the physical space which is right in front of me, and then there's the space in the mind where there's no thinking. There's the gap, where there's no thought. And it's I feel it kind of helps, when you have a lot of space around you. 14 movements, but you don't have to count. I'm just, for your information, I'm saying that there are 14. And you start with your hands on your knees like this. And you start with the right hand. You turn up the palm of your hand like this. That's one movement. So once you've made the movement, you pause a little bit. You make the second movement, which is raising your arm up. Watch me first, and then you make this move. It's the third one. Then your left hand goes. So I'm trying to do it now in the speed which is comfortable for me, which is not too fast, it's not too slow. Just one movement at a time. A little pause in between. So this is each movement has a beginning and an ending, because I pause every time. So this is one moment. This is a new moment. This is one moment of awareness. This is a new moment of awareness. And this is a new moment of awareness. So this is one moment. One moment. So it's not that you're focusing on it, but you just feel what you're doing. That's all. You feel what you're doing because you're doing it deliberately. I mean, if I was just sitting here, I wouldn't be making movements, right? So there is some sense of you're making a deliberate intention. You're doing this with a deliberate intention. But it's very slight. It's very little. And of course, once you know how to make the movement, then it becomes automatic because you don't have to think, which hand should I do now? Right or left? Oh, this one. And then, this one. Now, but once you've done it for, let's say, 10 minutes, then you know this one. You don't have to think about it. So you're aware of the movement, and also you're aware when the movement comes to a standstill when you pause. You're aware of that as well. And so actually, when you make a cycle of 14 movements, you can be aware 28 times. Now, let's say that a movement takes about 1 second, then in 1 hour you can be aware 7,200 times. How's that? Now I'm talking about building up a habit. and you do, let's say you do this for 1 hour, and you're aware 7,000 times, then you start to do walking. How many steps do you take in 1 hour? Now you just practice for 2 hours, walking and sitting. I mean, you accumulate so much moments of awareness that, you know, really starts to count up. You understand? That's how it works. It's so simple. But of course, you know, when I say be aware every time, it probably won't happen. You know, you will have some thoughts and you say, oh, how did I start to think about yesterday? You know? But you always have an opportunity to come back, because every movement is a new movement. It's now. It's now. It's never in the past. It's now. This is now. And this movement just now is gone. It's past already. And this movement hasn't come yet. Now.
Okay.
Now. So you see how fast or how slow I do it. I think this is a good, I'm not saying that I'm doing it the right way. Don't do it fast or slow, but I think actually this way is quite reasonable. Because if you do it slower than that, it becomes like a concentration. It's unnatural. And if you do it faster, I can do it very fast if you would. But that's not clear. That's not good. So the way I do it is I do a little bit. Make one movement. Pause a little bit. Make one movement. Pause a little bit. Make one movement. I'm aware of this movement. Now I'm in the present. I'm in the present. This moment. This moment. Nothing special. Special. It's completely ordinary. It's nothing, you know. But you feel what you're doing. You feel what's going on. So what is going on right now is nothing special. It's ordinary, but you know what it is. This is it. So now let us try together. We start with the right hand, okay? You turn up your right hand. Now you raise your right arm. Now you put your right hand on your navel. Right. Now the left hand, you turn it up. Now the left hand goes on top of the right, more or less. And then the right hand goes up to your chest. And then it goes out to the side. It comes down on the knee. And you turn it up. Now the left one goes up to the chest. Goes out. Down to the chest. And so that is one side. 14. And then the right hand again. On the navel. Left one. It's very simple. Like in the first few minutes maybe you have to think, oh, this one comes next. After 10 minutes you know. And in the meantime, you can look in the distance. Don't focus. If you focus with your eyes, that means there's a kind of concentration. You don't want any concentration at all. So this method is very strange. It's really weird. We have our eyes open. Everybody else closes their eyes. We make movements. Everybody else sits still. And we don't concentrate. Everybody else concentrates. And when we have any pain in our legs, well, we just move. Because this movement we can be aware of also. That's another movement we can be aware of. And then a mosquito comes to bite us. That's also a movement. We just chase the mosquito away. That's a movement. We can be aware of this movement. And so when a mosquito bites, it's not an obstacle. It's not a problem. It's okay. And then you want to stretch yourself. It's okay. Stretch yourself. That's a movement. And then there's something funny happens and you smile. And it's okay. Now other people in their meditation, hey, what are you smiling about? You're not practicing. We can smile. And so we have an advantage in many things. It's so natural. So you feel when the two hands touch together. You feel when your hand comes down on your knee. You feel the sensation. You feel the movement. You feel the stopping. Whatever it is that's happening, You feel it, but without concentrating, you just notice. You're just there, that's all. You know? One moment at a time. Moment by moment. We're not having a state of awareness. Anybody who tells me I have a state of awareness, I was aware for half an hour. That's completely wrong. That's not it. No. Awareness is now. It's not half an hour. It's now. This is awareness. You understand?
Okay. Understand.
But one thing also I want to make very, very clear is that don't think that when you're doing this practice you're meditating, and then when you stop doing this you're not meditating. No. When you no longer do this method, you get up from your seat. Getting up from your seat, that's a movement, that's awareness. And then you walk somewhere, walking is awareness. And then you go to the toilet, going to the toilet, that is practicing awareness. That is a very important point. Yeah, I know you're holding the camera.
Your face to it.
I should look in the camera.
The audience know that you are looking at them.
Yeah, but she's sitting over there.
Should I sit there?
That is basically all there is to it. So it's a matter of just experimenting, you know? Just try it out. What is that awareness that he's talking about all the time? What is that? Sati? Awareness? What is it? What's the difference of making a movement and you're not aware? And when you are aware, what's the difference? And what happens in the mind? Like you might notice that while you're making these movements, the breath is going in and out. That's also part of reality. And breathing is also a movement. So you might notice that. But it's a little subtle. So you're probably not aware of it all the time. Every now and then you might notice it. The breath is going in and out. You know? Sometimes. So the awareness is not focused on one particular spot. It's got 14 different movements, but also like you might have some sensation in your knee or something, and you notice that as well. So you notice the whole body. You notice what's going outside. You know, the sound and that sound, and a bird comes flying this way. You notice it. Your mind is totally open. So you're aware of the inner. You're aware of the outer, you're aware of the physical, and you're aware of the mental. Like suddenly a thought comes up. You see that also. Because awareness, that's the nature of awareness. It's that it will notice anything that comes up. It's like a mirror. Anything that you put in front of the mirror will reflect. You put a good object or a bad object, very ugly person or very beautiful person, it doesn't matter to the mirror. It sees everything. So, I just want to say that because usually people have this idea that meditation is something to do with concentration. You have to concentrate on just one thing. And that means that, for example, if you're watching the breath, you're not aware of anything else. If you just watch the breath, you don't hear that sound anymore. You don't hear that bird anymore because you just hear. And so it's like you shut everything out. Your mind is closed. It's just one spot, and everything else you don't notice. This is the opposite. Your mind is totally open, and anything that comes in, that's an object of awareness. You notice. So in that sense, it's actually opposite to samatha practice, where you try to get a peaceful state of mind by concentrating on one point. And so this has to be understood very clearly, because if you think it's about just the movement and you concentrate on the movement every time, you're not doing it right. You should do it very relaxed way. Whatever happens this moment, okay, you're making a movement, but actually it's possible that you're bitten by a mosquito and you notice the sensation of this mosquito more clearly than the movement.
So your awareness will go to the mosquito itself.
well, whatever stands out at that moment. The point is that you're aware of this moment, and so when you make a movement, then most likely it's that movement that you are aware of. But it's possible that some other object arises at that moment, and you notice that too, because it's there. You understand? Like sometimes you get bitten by a mosquito and you don't even see them. But there it is. So you could say basically it's just a way to get in touch with the now, with the present moment, with this moment. And what the object is doesn't actually matter. You know, you can be aware of this movement, or you can be aware of the breathing, you can be aware of this movement, or you can be aware of a mental movement, a thought. A thought is a mental movement. It doesn't matter. Any object is good enough. But the point is, are you aware now, this moment? Yes or no? If you're not aware, then thought will take over and create all sorts of problems. If you are aware, then you have this gap that you were talking about. That's as simple as that. That's it. Interestingly enough, Lompotian said that while you're walking, it's actually good to wear slippers or to wear your shoes. You don't have to take them off.
Why?
Because if you take them off, usually people will concentrate on only on the touch of the foot with the ground, and that's not you don't that's a kind of concentration also. But if you walk with your shoes on, then you tend to be more aware of the whole movement. Like there are many sensations in the leg. You know? Like you actually feel the whole leg move, and there's no concentration here. Like walking meditation in other methods is usually just the touch of the foot and in a very detailed way.
Yeah.
But here it's more like you use every step, which is a movement, to be in the present. And you might actually feel other parts of your body while you're walking. It doesn't matter. So walking is also very good, and sometimes you can walk more than sitting because it's quite natural, and you have to see for yourself. Some people, they like to walk a lot and do little sitting. Yeah. Other people sit a lot and they don't walk much. It's up to you. But especially in the beginning, it's very good to experiment with this method of sitting and movement, because it's very, very clear. It's really a moment-to-moment practice, and when you have a little pause between the movements, then it really is a movement that has a beginning. Like I haven't moved yet. Now I move, and then the movement comes to a standstill. So it has a beginning and an end, and then this is a new movement. So every time you move, it's a new moment. It's a new moment. So you lose yourself, it doesn't matter. A new moment. And you lose yourself again, never mind. New moment. You see, that's how it works. Because I've seen people doing it too fast, and I don't think that's good. You know, when you do it too fast, actually you're making the movements. You could still think about America or something, you know. And somebody sees you sitting there, you say, oh, you must be a very good practitioner. Actually, you're thinking about what happened 10 years ago. Any questions?
Can you show us the walking?
Yeah, I can. But here there is no path.
And I can give you my slippers. Is it that a path?
Yeah, but the tiles is not so good.
And how about here?
If you have like two marks, you know, like it could be two trees, or it could be, you could put one shoe over here, one shoe over there, so that you don't have to think about where to stop.
Yeah.
You just walk to this sign and then from there to here. And but when you walk, it's actually good to keep your arms still. So you're walking, and you keep your hands on your back like this, or like this.
Okay.
And also I've seen people walk like this.
This is what
And
I
the
often
reason
do.
for that is that when you're doing the sitting, you're using your arms and your hands all the time. But now when you're walking, your awareness is in your legs more. So you fold up your arms, you don't use it, and you just see if you can be aware of what's happening in the legs. So basically the walking is more about the legs and the sitting is more about the arms.
Okay.
Nice.
But
So, can I put my slipper one there then? So,
Yeah, you can, but there isn't much to see really, you know. I mean, you just see me walking from one side. So you just walk in a relaxed way, you know, like you're strolling along, you're not in any hurry at all. There's no need to be in a hurry to get over there, there's nothing there anyway. You just relax carefully. And there's no need to stop for a long time when you turn around, you just turn around. So it's all, nothing much to say about it. But it's something that you can do for a long time. Or you can walk like this. Or you can walk like this. But it's not recommended that you
Okay.
I don't think that's good. Because then you have too many movements at the same time. Your legs are moving and your arms are moving and whether you're aware of. So they recommend that you keep your arms still when you walk. And you know, even you could experiment with other things. Like you, for instance, you can just stand and do like this. Just because any movement is good enough. So sometimes maybe you're tired of walking and you just want to stand there. You just do some little movement. And you know, in the time of Lompotian, sometimes he wouldn't have much space, so everybody couldn't walk. He said, just walk on the spot. Just walk like this. I never do this actually, but that's also possible.
Can you show us again?
You walking on the spot. Or if there's a lot of mosquitoes, you can have a mosquito net and then walk inside your mosquito net, like this. Because, you know, it's not that one movement is better than another one. You know, you do this one, oh, you get a lot of sati out of that, but when you walk, you get only little. So no, it's all the same.
Okay.
But what is important is that you can continue with your formal practice, sitting and walking for a long time. You do some sitting, and you walk for a while, you sit some more, maybe you stand for a while, and then you have a drink. But while you're having a drink, you're also aware, and then you do more sitting, and you know, you're in practice all day long. Like they organize many retreats in Thailand, and many people they practice together, practice all day long, from the morning until the evening. And then of course there are some teachers who give a talk, but many hours they practice, sitting, walking, and it's all quite relaxed, you know. It's not like you're sitting really tensing, trying hard. Not like that.
Nice. Really?
okay. Right, like Okay, when I actually like do walking meditation, it's a bit slower than my usual pace. It's I don't know, like,
A little bit.
yeah, it's a bit
Because
slower.
we are so restless, we always think, I have to get to this shop and buy this, and I have to go and get there. And we walk very fast. But, when you do walking meditation, you don't need to have that same mood.
Yeah.
You can just relax.
Mm-hmm.
So, if any movement is good enough, then let's pick a really relaxed and comfortable movement. Why would you go fast and walk in a hurry? That's not comfortable. It's much nicer to just kind of stroll. You're strolling along the beach and you just got all the time in the world, and you just take one step at a time. You feel all of these, and,
Yep. Yeah.
You don't like the thought. You want them to stop. And you think, well, if I do it very slowly, maybe they will stop. And that's not exactly right. It's a bit like you're still turning the lamp.
Yeah.
But actually, what you need to do is just switch to awareness of the body. That's all. You just remember that as long as the mind is there with the thought, it's not going to stop because you can't control that. But as soon as you've come to awareness of the body, there it is. There's awareness, and the thought will stop by itself.
Okay.
Because intention can be very subtle. It can be very indirect.
Yeah.
Basically there's still a feeling of, well, all this restlessness, I don't want it. Let's do some walking so you still want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And it's still tanha. That's tanha. Right?
Tanha.
It's tanha.
What is
Tanha
that?
is craving.
That's the
Craving.
cause of
Wanting.
suffering. It's the second noble truth.
Craving or wanting.
蘿蔔
Wanting to-
蘿蔔到什麼啊？
Like for example, when you're rowing and you want to get there, and you think, I'm going too slow, I want to get there. That's craving.
Yeah.
Craving is not like a tanha, is a Pali word which is kind
Tanha.
of something special. No, it's in your daily life, where you want to be over there and you're over here. That's it. That's tanha.
Here.
Or you have some bad thoughts and you think, I don't want to have these bad thoughts. That's tanha. There it is, those thoughts. Where they come from, I don't know, but there they are. And you recognize them and you say, okay, there are the thoughts, but I'm over here. I'm with the awareness.
Wonderful. I think
So like what I said yesterday, when you're aware, there is no thought. When you're aware, there is no tanha. When you're aware, there is no suffering. You have to find out whether that's true or not.
dogs are happy.
Terrorist?
No.
I think
So it's a friend.